Welcome back. I'm Jonathan Tripodi, your host for Freedom from Body Memory Insights Edition. We're diving into the phenomenon of body memory, how it impacts the body. And we discussed in the episode 2 the bioenergy of the body and how experiences are really comprised of different forms of energy. And our body is designed to conduct that energy. It also has the capacity to suppress it. However, when you suppress memory of an overwhelming experience, whether it's physical pain or emotional or psychological, that memory is not just stored in the mind, it also is stored in the body. In particular, the physical and emotional components of experiences are suppressed in the body. The cognitive memory may be experienced more in the mind, but when it comes to feeling the event, it happens in your body. And so we talked about how energy is then suppressed in the body. Energy makes up our emotions. It helps to bring to life physical sensations. So we suppress those sensations and emotions. We're actually suppressing energy. We talked about the release phase when a person enters a release of body memory, when they go from the suppressed state to the release state. We talked about what that looks like. In episode 2, we talked about the body actually responding to energy moving through its tissues and fluids. We talked about the 4 pathways of release. That was movement, breath, sound, and emotion. So, how do you enter into this release phase of body memory? How can you begin to transform the memories that you've accumulated from your past? How do you let them go? Well, up to, this point, most people would assume that if they just remember it cognitively and they come to an understanding of the memory of the event that they suppressed, they were complete with the transformative process. My experience, and of course this is Insights Edition, I'm providing 30 years of insight into the transformative process of body memory, having worked with thousands of people, helping them to transform body memory, and also my own journey with transforming body memory. And what that's taught me is that resolution of body memory, when you come to that place of resolution where it's no more an issue, is when you've fully released it. Physical sensations, emotions, and when you've gained that cognitive awareness. So you remember it cognitively, you release it physically, emotionally, and we're talking about the energy of it. Letting the energy out of your body. Your body's really not designed to carry the past with it into the present, into the future. I mean, certainly we have memory. We went through school, we learned a lot of things, and if we didn't remember that, if we didn't carry that memory, we would probably want our money back. However, what I'm talking about is carrying it in the form of a suppressed memory, because suppression is unique in that it suggests that our body is actively resisting the movement of this energy through our body, and that resistance creates tension, and that tension acts on the organs and joints and bones and nerves of our body and creates symptoms. So what we're looking for in the resolution process is to be at peace with the memory. So the memory's there, we're just not fighting it. We're not avoiding it. We're not suppressing it. There's no tension around it. You can talk about it. You can talk about it in detail. You can cry about it. You can laugh about it. The emotions are still maybe felt, but they're not resisted. So transforming body memory involves getting in contact with your conscious or unconscious resistance to the memory. And it could be any part of the memory. So you might be open to remembering the past event cognitively. You might be able to talk about it and still be able to resist the emotions behind it. So there's selective resistance. Your body has this intelligence and this ability to be open to one part of the experience, one component of it, and be suppressing another component. So what we're talking about is a complete release of the physical sensations and emotions associated with the memory and the cognitive awareness of the memory. When you're cognitively aware, when you remember it and you felt it and you're not afraid to feel it and it's flowed through you, there's no real problems. There's not a problem. The body doesn't have a problem with flow. It has the problem with suppression. And we talked about how we accumulate suppressed memories over a lifetime. It's a habit. We don't even think about it. So moving towards resolution, moving towards being at peace with the past, moving towards being healthy and vital in our body, unencumbered by suppressed memory, it comes down to flow and restoring flow in your body, coming out of resistance and avoidance to the experience itself. Complete the experience, essentially. Have the experience. And have it now in a safe environment. Have it with support if you need it. Have it when you are now older and more mature and able to process it in a way that maybe you weren't able to when you were younger. Yeah. That's my experience in transforming body memory. So, question becomes, how do we enter this flow state that transforms and brings peace and resolution to our suppressed memories? How do we enter that flow state? In the episode 2 of this series, I referred to young children as the role models for this flow state. Because up until about age 2, we flow. Children don't have the regulatory patterns of the conditioning to control an experience. When they're happy, you know it. They're very vocal about it. They're very physical about it. When they're sad, the same is true. One of my favorite things was that occurred for me as I was learning about body memory and I was beginning my journey with transforming it, is I moved and lived near an elementary school. And I could hear the kids screaming during recess. And I thought, what am I hearing? And it sounded familiar, but I wasn't sure. It had been a long time since I had been exposed to kids, a whole group of them. And so I kind of leaned out the window, and then I kind of walked over and got closer and just appreciated in a very new way the power of flow that is modeled by these young kids. And if ever you need an example or you need to see what does it look like to be in a flow state, that's what I recommend. Go to any playground, especially at recess, because the kids there's so many of them, and they all kind of feed off of each other, and they're running, they're screaming, they're jumping, they're laughing. Maybe somebody skins their knee and starts crying, and somebody helps them, and then they feel better, and then they move on. How do we get back to that? How do we remember how to let go in that way? Practice. It doesn't happen all at once. But with practice, it happens more and more, and it occurs more deeply. You can let go a little, but still be resisting a lot. You can let go a little more, but still be resisting. And so the practice is in the letting go and trusting that process. Experiencing the let go state, the surrendered state. What are we surrendering? Control. Control over our body, control over our feelings, control over our voice, control over energy. Okay? So, in essence, the transformation of body memory is an initiation for human beings to cultivate the ability as an adult to enter an energetic flow state. And in the body memory world, that energetic flow state has a name. It's called unwinding. And essentially, when we suppress memory, it winds us up our nervous system, winds up our muscles and our fascia, winds up our chakras if you study those parts of your anatomy, creates tension. So the term unwinding just gives credence to the opposite, the reverse. And the only thing preventing your body from unwinding right now is your unconscious control over these energies that you've suppressed. Hey, let's face it, our world is built around that. And we're taught that. We're conditioned to control our voice and control our emotions and control what we do with our body and how we move it. Control is learned. After that brief little 2-year period where, you're kind of in a natural energetic flow state, suddenly then you're learning from your environment, from the people and the adults in your environment, hey, stay quiet, not so loud. Be still. This isn't appropriate. This isn't okay. And that's if you're in an environment where, you're getting those messages in a loving, gentle, nice way. Some of us were in abusive environments where a parent was angry or violent or domineering, and there were threats of punishment if we didn't control ourselves. So Control's a little booger. It's good to have the ability to assert control when you need to, but not get stuck in it. Not make it a lifestyle practice. Not make it a way of moving through the world and all the myriad of experiences that go with being human. So, body memory transformation is an opportunity to move through the world in a different way, to navigate your experiences differently. So rather than control them, be in a flow state, flow with them. Actually, not be afraid of them. Overcome our fear of our humanity. Positive feelings, positive experiences, negative experiences. Pain, joy. We control the joy too. It's once you're conditioned to assert control over yourself and your body and your energies, you do it no matter what the experience. That's why you ever hear somebody come up to you, come on, relax, cut loose, come dance, come sing, speak up, share your feelings, share your thoughts. And you're like, no, I'll just sit here for a while and I'm good. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to enter that flow state when all you've known is control. And the control is needed to survive these overwhelming experiences in our lives. And letting go of control is how we heal. It's how we transform. It's how we grow. So the shift from suppression to expression is the key. It's the insight to this edition of Freedom from Body Memory. The shift from suppression to expression, the shift from survival to healing, the shift from control to flow. The shift from being afraid to not being afraid, to trusting. Not trusting in necessarily another person, not necessarily trusting, quote, in life outside of you, but trusting in the innate intelligence within you. Because it's that innate intelligence that becomes active when you let go of control. So when you're in control, your control and your need to survive an experience that you're afraid of will dominate over your body's intelligence that would orchestrate your healing. So your body already understands that survival takes precedence. Survive first, heal later. So when we get stuck in survival mode, what we're postponing is healing. And so entering this flow state where the past that we've suppressed can actually be conducted, transmitted, released out of the body is innately designed. We're wired for it. The only thing that prevents it or limits it is our conscious or unconscious control over it. We're still, if we're still trying to survive it, if we still choose to be afraid of it. When I say choose, sometimes it's not a choice, I understand. If we're still afraid of it, it stays suppressed. we protect ourselves from it. So, how do we enter into it? Practice. And in the next edition, I'm going to go deeper into the practice of entering the self-healing flow state of unwinding. Thanks for joining. If anybody you know could benefit from this content, please share it with them. That's the whole idea. Spread the good word. And thank you for that. And I look forward to seeing you in episode 4.